carefully. So I focused on minors, but I will add in the other information as well. Yeah, just didn't pay attention to details. So I'm Donna Lehr. I'm one of the faculty members in the special education program and the program coordinator. So I'll start by talking about the minor and then kind of fill in some of the other information. Do you have to turn this on, or does it work? So the minor is this. It's a focus on children and youth with disabilities, their needs, their policies designed to assure that their needs are met. So it really, the series of courses that I'm going to talk to you about are designed to give a broad view of, again, children with disabilities, their services, their supports. If one gets a minor in special education, that doesn't mean that they're taking all of the courses that teach them how to teach students with disabilities. That's a slightly different curriculum, and I'll come back and talk about that related to the licensure program. Supports and services are another part of it. The advantage of pursuing a minor in special education is it's, first of all, complementary information. That should be an E, not an I. I always see many mistakes when I put it on the screen and not necessarily on my laptop. So pretend that's an E. It's complementary too, but as in complement, that should be with an E. It will add to the information that you're getting in other majors. If you're focusing on elementary education, getting some background information in special education is obviously complementary. Truly, most of the students that are doing a special education minor are not SED students. They're outside of SED. They're in other programs like psychology or the pre-OT and PT and speech therapy programs in Sargent, and students in COM. And so they're coming here to just get a broad view of disability in the minor. So it complements the information that they're getting in their programs. I think it's inherently interesting information, although it could be that I'm slightly biased. I think understanding individuals with disabilities and their support is absolutely fascinating. For some students, pursuing the minor gives a head start on licensure because some of the courses that one would take when getting a minor will lead toward a licensure in special education, although, as I just said, it's not the complete set of courses. And a head start on master's requirements. So some students are, within their program, are not able to take the whole certification route or licensure route in the program, but they can take some courses that can ultimately eliminate some of the requirements should they stay for a 5th year and seek a master's degree. So it kind of gives a head start. So another reason for doing it. There are a couple of required courses, and I'll talk about, starting with one of them, the most fundamental, Intro to Special Education. I just downloaded the textbook. Cute kid, you have to have a cute kid in every picture. So that's the foundation course. That's a course that we recommend everyone take first. It is a required course for most everybody in the School of Education, either the SE 250, Intro to Special Education, or 251, which is for secondary. But that gives the background foundation information on children with disabilities, their public policies, characteristics, etc. There is a total of 18 credits that are required. Intro to Learning Disabilities, Intro to Emotional Disturbance, Intro to Early Childhood Disabilities, Severe Disabilities, and Fieldwork students with disabilities. The bolded, you might say, why are some bold and why are some not? The bold titles are the ones that also can apply to a licensure program. So sometimes they can serve that dual duty. 6 elective credits are also required. Classroom behavior management, so selecting from these, not all of these. assessment in special education, introduction to autism, hot topic, introduction to education, which is something that many of you take already, and family of children with disabilities. So I'll mention again, I'm going to go back and mention again, the ones that are highlighted are ones that also support a licensure program. So one might serve this, double duty if you're want to do both, work on the minor and then also aim toward licensure. Benefit, increased understanding of disability and impact on learning, schools and society. Students who take the class, some of you have, some with me, some with others, tend to say the intro course anyways, or have been studying disability, you never look at the world in quite the same way. Students will tell me they start looking at accessibility issues, for example, get appalled when you look at SED and how do people possibly get in here. You kind of look at street signs and crossing and traffic and the T, people getting on, and coming to understand individuals with disabilities and some of the challenges, I think, helps understand, give a broad view of the world and the range of diversity. So I think it has that kind of benefit in general. This semester, nobody's in my course this semester, right? So I'm teaching Intro to Early Childhood Disabilities, and you should probably ask the students if they're loving it, but I am loving it because, in the class we have students who are education majors, occupational therapy majors, pre-med. I'm so thrilled. Somebody's going to be a pediatrician and we're going to talk about impact of disability on families. So exciting. Psychology, neuropsych, comm. There's just such a range of students, and for each one of them, my goal is to understand the way disability impacts the individual, the family, our society, our public responsibilities, etc. I don't know if any of you have been glued to the TV as much as I have this weekend watching the Pope move around, and I'm not Catholic, but I was just so struck with him, and it seems like every time he saw a child with a disability, he stopped, interacted, clearly communicated the message of responsibility for all. And it was just very, very striking to watch that kind of behavior. And then it was also striking to listen to the TV commentators stumble over the words and not use the right kind of words in talking about people with disabilities. So I've got a list of people that I'm sending an email to about how to talk respectful about people with disabilities. Some of you who took my classes know that that's important to me. But it was interesting. So. So the benefit of this minor is that even if you don't want to be a special education major, don't want to be a special education teacher, it just gives you background information and understanding about people with disabilities and their needs. I admit to not reading the email carefully. Apparently I was also supposed to talk about dual licensure, so let me throw that in as well. For most everybody within SED, it is possible to articulate a dual licensure, that you can add on to your elementary ed, secondary ed, etc. That doesn't mean that it's easy, because there are a lot of additional classes to get the specialized knowledge. But with working with your advisor and a special ed advisor carefully, we have tracks, we have routes, we've articulated plans, and we can help you plan that out so that when you leave SED, you can both have a license in elementary, early childhood, secondary education, etc., and a license as a teacher of students with special needs, which has the same benefit that I talked about, and in addition, the methods, but this isn't the right reason to do it, but also increases your ability to get a job tremendously. There is a tremendous need for special education teachers, those people that have either just a special education license or the dual license or even just a minor. are very valuable because districts need people that understand the needs of students with disabilities. So the getting the job should not be your first reason for doing this. The other reasons are the ones that I would emphasize more importantly. But doing the dual license is possible. You just need to work closely with us so that we can help you navigate your way through that.
With the dual licensure program, are you being certified in moderate or severe special ed, or both?
Whichever. Well, if you are in an elementary ed program, it maps on more closely to moderate disabilities. But it is possible to do severe disabilities as well. And you know, it just may mean more time, which I don't make light of, you know, because, you know, time is money and tuition and all of that, but it's possible to do either one of those. It maps more closely with moderate maps more closely with elementary. Good question. Questions or comments, or you'd rather we hold the questions until
Yeah,
after?
so
Okay.
we have